Okay, that's the beep sound. I have recorded this class, and since there's just 10 of us for now, we'll wait for your classmates, and you can also adjust your volume while waiting for the others. So I will call again in about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Good afternoon once again, everyone, and I hope everybody's here. So time's up for our class. Good afternoon, Monday, once again, everyone, and I hope everybody had a great weekend. And we are now ready for this week, and I hope you're ready for the computer class as well. So just for everybody's information, I have recorded this class, and let's now continue in checking the attendance. So please prepare to turn on your microphone while I'll check your attendance. Please say present when your name is called. K.
Present.
I.
Present.
Pim.
Present.
Me.
Present.
Angie.
Morning. Present.
North.
Present.
Minnie.
Present.
US.
Present.
Moon. Calling once. Namon calling twice. Calling thrice. Namon is absent today. Prom.
Present.
Logan.
Present.
Janice.
Present.
Bill.
Present.
Moss. Moss calling once. Moss calling twice. Calling thrice. Moss maybe he will join later. Boom.
Present.
Nene.
Present.
Eve.
Present.
David. Calling once, David. Calling twice. Calling thrice. David is absent. Kevin.
Present.
Okay, let me call again to those who are marked absent. Namun. Calling once. Calling twice. Calling thrice. Absent. Moss. Are you here yet? Moss. Calling once. Calling twice. Calling thrice. David. Okay. All right, so David is present. So absent today, Namun and Moss. I hope they will join later on. I'm not sure where they are. Maybe they're still on their way to their device. But anyway, two are absent today. So, and as I always said, if you are absent, you can go to the link that I have shared through Google Stream, sorry, and you can actually refer to the link for that particular day's class and be able to catch up with the lesson. So just like you're absent, two absences today, later on I will inform them they can go to the link and refer for today's class. So I hope everybody is now ready for the lesson. Last week I have mentioned that we are going to start with our lesson, and I hope that you have understood and you have remembered about the procedures. Okay, I have said about the SOP or the standard operating procedures. We also mentioned about the guidelines last week, about the classroom rules and online classroom rules to follow and to remember for us to be able to be guided accordingly during this online class, or those are considered the ground rules or online classroom rules. So I hope you have remembered those things, and now we are ready to start with our lesson. So for today's lesson, we are going to start with web design course. I'm not sure how many are familiar with JavaScript, or sorry, HTML. We are doing HTML web design. And let me share with you the slides for today. Hold on, class. Let me share with you the slide. Where's my slide? Okay, so the slide is there. I have shared it with you. All right, so this is about web design and development course using HTML5 and CSS3. We are going to learn more about web design and HTML in this particular quarter and in the first semester actually. Introduction to HTML5 and CSS3. So here's the source and reference for your lessons. This will actually serve as, we don't have a physical textbook, okay, but this will serve as an online textbook. I call it online textbook, and this is the resource that you can see. I have actually posted this one. I have posted this through Google Stream, the link, and this is your reference or your online resource for this course. So we have the home and learn. Let me share it with you. So if you can access your Google Stream, please take a look, and let's both take a look at just a quick glance of the online textbook, I should say. So we don't have the real physical book. Instead, you can just refer it to this online textbook. Okay, let's take a quick look of this one. So that's your web design course, home and learn. There's section 1. Okay, for every red link, that's actually a link, and when you go over those links, you can actually see the sections or the lessons that we're going to consider. So example, like introduction for today, this is the course introduction. So what we are going to learn, what do you need in this course, what are the web design course files, and the applications needed for this course. Okay, so when we go over these links, you can see the contents inside. For section 2, these are the basic HTML tags. We have getting started with CSS, dealing with images, linking to other pages. We have the CSS layouts. We have the HTML5 tables, HTML5 forms, and getting our site into the internet. And in section 11, these are actually the summary of each chapter. So it has the HTML5 and CSS3 reference. So once you go to those links, you will see the contents for every section. So that's just a quick look of our online textbook. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. So in the PowerPoint, this one. Okay, so that was a quick look of the online book. If you want to check the link, please go to Google Stream. I have posted the link there. And before we go to a short history of HTML, let's first take a look at the school's ESLRs. So the ESLR consists of right thought, right communication, right attitude, right conduct, and right lifestyle. So we have the online procedures that I have shared with you that will serve as the guidelines or classroom rules during online class. Now let's start with section 1.1. So the objectives for this lesson is to introduce with you the web design course. So what is actually web design or the HTML5 course? Let's take a look. The subtopics are what do we need in this course, what are the web design course files, and what history of HTML, as well as what is HTML. So we'll cover all of that in this presentation. So what do we need in this course? There's actually, we need some, I'll show you later on again when we go to that particular apps. We need some text editor to write our codes. And also we need also the link or the online textbook to refer to our lessons. So particularly just a text editor and a web browser as well. Mostly online resources will be able to write with these codes. So, and as well as some coding materials, I will share it with you later on. So as we go along with our classes, I'll just give you the details, every details of the materials that we need in this course. So the web design course files to start with, we have the HTML template, which I will share it with you later on because we're not going to use that for now. So we'll just use the course file one at a time. Now let's go to the HTML timeline, or I should say the history, a short history, a brief history of HTML. Did you know that in 1991, HTML was published? So they called it HTML. And in 1995, so about 4 years later, they tried to develop it and tried to improve the features of HTML. And they came up with HTML 2.0. So that was somewhere in 1995, sorry. So try to imagine how many decades was that. Okay, so we have this time here, 1995, HTML2. In 1991, it was published. In 1997, they called it version 3.2. And somehow another 2 more years later on, they developed as HTML 4.01. So it was after HTML 4.1 that was released, and the focus shifted to XHTML and its stricter. So during those years, it was they had stricter standards with HTML. And somehow in 2000, they developed it as XHTML version 1.0. Okay, so that was the brief history of HTML. And in 2002 to 2009, they actually developed XHTML 2.0, which even had stricter standards as well than 1.0. So rejecting web pages that did not comply. It fell out of favor gradually and was abandoned completely in 2009. So you can imagine how those years have developed to HTML. And in 2012, they call it HTML5. Okay, and HTML5 is much more tolerant and can handle markup from all the prior versions. Though HTML5 was published officially in 2012, it has been in development since 2004. So those years, actually, they really developed and tried to make sure HTML was complying certain standards. That's how they created from those years. So that was the quick and brief history of HTML. Now let's take a look what HTML is. Is there anyone who has idea what HTML is? Maybe you have tried to search there. What does HTML stand for? So in my slide, so HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And hypertext, or these HTML documents, are described web pages, and these web pages are static web pages. Okay, these are also HTML tags are keywords surrounded by angle brackets, like this one here. You have the angle brackets. Remember those? You'll be able to see that most of the time during web development. These are called tags. So the whole of these are called tags. And HTML tags normally come in pairs. So if it's paired, that means there are two of them. So we have the opening here and the closing tag. So the first tag is called the starting tag or opening tags. The second tag, so this is number 1 and number 2, is called the end tag or closing tags. So remember those are the very basics of HTML. These are called tags in HTML. So again, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So unlike a scripting or programming language that uses scripts to perform functions, a markup language uses tags to identify contents. Yes, so they use tags there, just like the example like this. This is the opening tag and the closing tag. And this will identify contents in HTML. So here's an example, this one. So this is actually written, this is written now in a text editor for HTML. Okay, this is the real example of in a text editor. So we have the opening tag, as I have showed you a while ago, this one here. This one, that's not included, okay? That's just the cursor there. And in between is a paragraph, or yes, since this is P stands for paragraph. So we have the opening tag and the closing tag. Okay. And so here, the question is, what does a markup language use to identify contents? Is it scripts, commands, tags, or functions? Anyone? What does? Yes? Go ahead, Logan.
Functions. Oh, wait, no, scripts.
Nice guess. Thank you for that. So going back, okay, go back a little bit. Go back. See here, a markup language uses tags to identify the content. Oh, going back to the question, what does a markup language use to identify content?
Tags.
Yes, there you go. That was, who was that? Sorry, I didn't. Can you speak again?
If.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you for that. So, yeah, I hope everybody got one. So that's, yeah, based from the presentation we had, a quick glance. So HTML is identified by tags. So the web structure, the ability to code using HTML is essential for any web professional. Acquiring this skill should be the starting point for anyone who is learning how to create contents for the web. So yeah, I understand since we just started, you'll be able to see more of those tags or those codes as we go along with our lessons. But don't worry, I'm here to guide you. I'm going to guide you along the way, and I hope that no one will be left behind. Everybody will be able to get a head start with HTML. And I will make sure no one will be left behind. So we have actually a modern web design, okay? And for the modern web design, it actually consists of HTML. There's also CSS and JavaScript. So HTML actually is the structure, okay? So just like a building, or maybe maybe in the roads or buildings or any constructions, there should be a structure, a foundation, okay? So if you call structure, it's like in a building, the structures are actually composed of like metals or some cements that we need to create. So in web design, HTML is your structure, and CSS actually is the presentation, the styling. So let's say if your structure has been finished, your building is finished, then you have the decorations, okay? I would say decorations or stylings is your CSS. And JavaScript actually is the behavior of your web design. So example, you wanted to move some icons from one area of your web page to another area. JavaScript will take care of that. If you can see some animations in your web pages, that's actually being taken care of with JavaScript. However, for every web design, there's HTML, there's CSS, and JavaScript. So there's also what you call the back end, or that's called PHP. Anyway, these are the advanced things. And we have the content management, CSS. So every web design have these kinds of structures in it, and the basic structure is called HTML. That's why we need to cover HTML for this course. So it actually needs more practice every day to be able to comprehend with HTML. But don't worry, I will make sure everybody will be in the same page, in the same pacing. Okay, let's try to rearrange this one. Rearrange the code to surround the text. I am learning HTML in computer class with the opening and closing tags. So how do you structure this one? So based from the previous slides, right, usually we have for every HTML, there's what again? What's the starting tag? The starting tag actually is the opening tag. So this will be number one. Number one. If we are going to rearrange this will be your number one, and the second will be this one, and the third is this, and the closing tag, which is your end tag, which is this one. So that's the arrangement like this. So we have the opening tag, we have the closing tag, and remember this slash, and inside is your the text. And this is actually basically the structure of your HTML. So whatever codes you have there, if you have H tag, you have div tag, body tag, HTML, whatever tag, this would be the basic structure. Anyway, we'll go to that more in details later on. So this is just a quick look for example of those tags for now. So in summary, we have the hypertext. HTML is an abbreviation for the word hypertext markup language. And HTML documents describe web pages. And their tags, HTML tags, are keywords surrounded by angle brackets like HTML. And HTML tags normally come in pairs. These are the pair opening and closing tag. So this one, first tag, which is the opening, the second tag or the end tag, which is the closing tag. So in the next slide, you have time. Are we going to 15:20? So you have about 10 minutes to, let's go to our web quest. Okay, search the internet and read about HTML. So I might have just have shown you a few of the meanings of HTML. So if you go over the internet, there would be a lot more meaning about the HTML. So please take time to read in 10 minutes, and I'll get back to you before we end this class. Now it's time for the web quest, and please search about HTML. So read more about HTML. Okay, class, I hope you have read more about HTML. That's the first question for this lesson. And in the next lesson, we will learn where to write and save HTML codes, how to run HTML codes. So I'll show you more HTML examples as well, and examples of elements and web page. So thank you for participating today. And now it's time for the iRest. So this the workout, iRest workout. And I think it's almost time. Yeah, so we have a minute left. So if there's no more question, then you can log out. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, teacher.
Bye. Take
Bye.
care. I'll see
Have a
you.
great day.